right, what is up, everybody? Divine Hood here, coming at you with another daily update on Bitcoin and the crypto markets. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, JW, Johnny, Ludong, German Dog, Tiamat. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. Thank you for modding. Frank, Ragana, Travis. Welcome in, Quiles, Massey, 33. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much for joining today. We have some very, very interesting developments happening on the charts here. And we have talked about this situation of creating a overall lower high in the charts before coming down and creating a lower low. And it does look like Bitcoin is rejecting from this golden pocket, and we are seeing a bit of an aggressive move down here. Yesterday in the stream, we talked about the local break in market structure. We even looked at shorting that lower high golden pocket live during the stream. Now, I am short on Bitcoin. I got in a little bit later after we broke that local value area low. I got in on the short position. Also took some profits on some altcoins as we were coming up into resistances on some of those altcoins. So we're going to go ahead and get into Bitcoin today. We're going to get into the altcoins. There's a lot that I want to talk about. So here's the thing, guys. We have macro price action that I want to show you on Bitcoin. A macro pitchfork from a while back, and we have some local price action. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and go into the local price action right now. Yesterday during the stream, we were looking at our local range. This was the local range. Of course, we broke above the value area high, back tested that value area high, and finally came up to hit our resistance. And now we are falling back within the volume profile. Very, very locally, we have the value area low coming up at the bottom here. And if we turn on the ascending channel, so I showed you guys this ascending channel last week during one of the streams, and we really pulled this channel from the lows to the higher low to the first major high here. And if we turn on this ascending channel here, you can see that Bitcoin has been kind of just grinding up slowly in this ascending channel. We hit the top. Let me hide this range here real quick. We hit the top of that channel, kind of grinded sideways. But you can see now we're coming down, and if we break this ascending channel structure, there is a very high probability that we do see a pretty aggressive move down here to take a lot of the liquidity that has built up throughout this channel. We know that a lot of long positions have been opening up here. And so very, very locally, if we turn on that local range, you can see that our local range that we've been in for the past 8 days, the value area low of that range is right near the bottom of this channel. So if Bitcoin is going to be able to bounce from the bottom of the channel in the value area low, I'm going to be looking for a lower high up to the golden pocket and then maybe the breakdown of the channel before seeing a bigger correction to the downside. So definitely be keeping an eye on this channel here. If it breaks down, we are probably going to sweep a majority of this liquidity, if not all of it. But we were also talking about the bigger correction still not being over. And we were looking at this. Let's zoom out to the 4-hour chart. We were looking at, because we did break market structure on the daily time frame, or this low, this prior range, this was our prior range here, because we broke the lows of this range and we broke market structure bearishly by breaking those lows, there was a greater possibility to make a lower high before coming down and now making another lower low here, creating your overall bigger 3-wave zigzag correction to the downside. So I am looking at this as a possibility, especially with us rejecting from that golden pocket. That is the most common area to put in a lower high after a break in market structure. So we had the market structure break. We came up lower high, rejecting from the golden pocket. And if we can sustain inside of this ascending channel, then we might be able to come up and make one more high. We might be able to, range throughout the weekend, come up, make one more high, and then see the dump. But we did have a lot of bearish divergences on the chart. The only thing yesterday that was really keeping me somewhat bullish was the bullish CVD absorption that we were seeing on the charts from the low on FOMC day, Wednesday. So you can see, and even now, we still are technically having that bullish CVD divergence, but it just doesn't look near as good now. I did talk to you guys about these prolonged drops in open interest are never good to see. And when you want to see your open interest consistently and steadily rising here, maybe some small drops along the way. But when you see these prolonged drops in open interest, it does tend to invalidate the bullish CVD absorption, even though technically it's not invalidated until we take out Wednesday's low. To me, I am already assuming that we could come down and take out yesterday's low and, Wednesday's low, and really see a bigger dump to the downside. We do have the confirmed bear divs on the chart. You can see here on the 4-hour chart, bearish divergence, money flow has been draining out of the asset, bearish divergence, money flow bear divergence here on NAMI. And really, it's going to come down to today, locally, our local price action, if we're going to bounce from our value area low, about 114.9K. So if we can bounce from 114.9K, I do think, let's zoom in onto the 1-hour chart, and we will just do a theoretical fib. So we're going to pull a fib from the highs of yesterday. We did finally hit into that golden pocket, and we're just going to pull it to that value area low. And you can see here, if we pull it into the value area low, where is our golden pocket coming in? Our golden pocket is coming in at the value area high of the range. And if we bounce from value area low, there is a probability that we could fill this range again. But now we would need to watch for a lower high before creating that big lower low and creating a bigger impulse to the downside. And this 5-wave impulse could just be the start of a much, much larger impulse down to 105K, all the way coming down to 105K down here. So this is a possibility that we'll have to be watching over the next few weeks here. I am going to go into some of the macro price action right now for you. I want to show you guys a couple things here on the chart, a pitchfork that I've been following really since the beginning of the bull market. This pitchfork has been, let me actually, yeah, this is theoretical right now, so I'm going to delete it for now. And we'll turn off our local levels. We'll turn off our ascending channel and our local range. And I'm going to zoom out onto the 12-hour chart. Let me check the chat here, see what is up. Welcome in, everybody. My internal alarm said you to look for Divine Hood, and you started your live now. Awesome, Massey. Well, thank you for being here, Massey33. I appreciate it. Yes, everybody, please hit the like button. If you get anything out of this video, please hit the like button. Any insight into the markets, please hit the like button. Before we go into the macro price action, I do just want to announce the partners of the channel. So the main partner of the channel is BYDFI. They are a VPN and KYC free exchange. All you need is an email and a password to sign up. If you do sign up using my affiliate link, you'll get 20% discounts on trading fees. You can get up to $8,100 in futures bonuses, and you can get initial deposit bonuses. If you deposit $100, you'll get a 50% deposit bonus, and then you can get various 10 to 20% deposit bonuses depending on how much you deposit, if you deposit more amounts. Now, I've partnered with BYDFI to create a Telegram community where I do post my trade setups and post some of my market analysis. You guys can pop in there, ask me questions, ask me about some of the trades that you're looking at. If you are interested in joining that Telegram, the link for the Telegram is in the description. You do have to sign up with BYDFI using my affiliate link and deposit $100. Now, that $100 is yours to trade with. You will get a 50% deposit bonus. And then once you get into the Telegram, once you click on the link in the description, get into the Telegram, you do not need to type in /verify and then your user ID. And then that will get you into the Telegram. So, mine's been changed to Divine Hood, but yours is probably going to be a number in here, some sort of number, but just /verify in your user ID, and that'll get you into the Telegram community. Second partner of the channel is NAMI Trading. NAMI is a momentum and money flow indicator that I use for entry and exit confirmations. Like, for instance, we were coming up to this golden pocket. We were looking for bearish divergences on the chart, higher highs in the price action, lower highs in the momentum waves, for money flow to be draining out of the asset by then. And that was a good confirmation to short. So NAMI, great indicator. They are offering my affiliates 50% off lifetime subscription to NAMI. So if you're interested in purchasing NAMI, I would recommend doing it while that discount code is still available. Both the link and the discount code, which is Divine50, is in the chat and the description below. And then lastly, we do have MEXC and Bybit. Both exchanges are great exchanges offering low fees and futures trading bonuses depending on how much volume you move in those futures markets. Okay, let's get back to the TA here. So on the macro time frame, we are looking at that bigger potential 3 wing down to 105K. If we are going to see that move, let's look at our pitchforks to see. I'll turn on this pitchfork. This pitchfork goes back all the way pretty much to the beginning of the bull market. Let me go ahead and put on the daily chart. And way down here at the very start of our wave four, sorry, not the beginning of the bull market, the beginning of our fifth wave in our larger Elliot impulse. So at the end of our 2024 range, this was our 2024 range that lasted about 8 months, consolidated, and then we had that big push up at the very beginning of 2025. So if we look at this very, very low of the correction of wave four to our first high to our first low, you can see how well this pitchfork has been respected. Rejected midline, came up to the upper band, rejected upper band, lost the midline, back tested it, lower band, upper band, midline, flipped the midline to support, broke above it. This is when we formed that prior all-time high range back in January, February. Once we broke it down, you can see we worked our way down through the pitchfork, even saw a deviation below the bottom of the pitchfork. But once we were able to get back inside of that pitchfork, we had worked our way up, flipped the upper band or flipped the lower band to support, flipped the midline to support, worked our way up to the upper band. We rejected the upper band. We kind of saw that 3-wave correction to the bottom, even though it was front run a little bit. Then we were able to flip the lower band to support, work our way up to the upper band, came down to the lower band again, rejected the midline. What the point is this pitchfork has been very, very highly respected. Now, we have lost this pitchfork of support or pitchfork support level. We back tested it locally and made new lows. Now that we have lost the pitchfork, there's always an initial low time frame back test. And if you do reject on the low time frame back test, you will make new local lows. That has already happened. Now, after the low time frame back test, you usually have a higher time frame back test. And if you reject the higher time frame back test, you also expect to make new lows below the prior lows, which is at about 107.5K. So there is a potential based off of this pitchfork, based off pitchfork trading, that we are not, you can see here, 1-2 times we have tried to break back inside of this pitchfork, and we are rejecting not only from the pitchfork, but from our golden pocket point of control resistance of our range. If we go ahead and turn on our intermediate range in here, this is the range we've been in for about a month and a half. You can see we are rejecting that point of control. We are rejecting that golden pocket. We are rejecting the bearish backtest of our pitchfork. And if we do lose our local ascending channel, let's now zoom in on the 2-hour chart. If we do lose our local ascending channel, which we're coming down to right now, by the way, we're probably going to hit it live during this stream, and we come down to our local range value area low. So this range is our intermediate range that we've been in for about a month and a half. And then we have our local range that we've been in for about 8 days. You can see our local range value area low is coming up with the bottom of the channel. If we can bounce there, we'll come up to that golden pocket at about 117K, 116.9, 117K. And then if we lose this channel, if we lose this local range, then we're going to be looking at the value area low of our larger range. Let me go ahead and hide this. The value area low of our larger range, which is going to be right where our anchored VWAP from the all-time highs is. Now, what's important about that is anytime you have an anchored VWAP from a major high or a major low, it really is determining the trend of the market. Let's turn on that range or that support level there. And you can see that every time you would reject from this anchored VWAP here, the trend would continue. In this case, it was a downtrend. Once you're able to flip that VWAP to support, rejection, break above it, once you're able to break above it, now the trend is weakening, and now you can say maybe there's going to be a trend in Bitcoin. The downtrend is ending, and an uptrend is really going to be starting. Well, since breaking above this anchored VWAP here, we have not backtested it yet to confirm a flip to support. So if we lose our local support coming up pretty much right now, then I suspect we are going to drop to backtest that VWAP, which also happens to be the value area low of our more intermediate range in here. And that is an area where we could see a bounce. Now, remember, if we're looking for a bigger 5-wave impulse down, here's the thing. This could be a wave 1, bounce from 114K or 113.5. We could come up to that golden pocket, reject, and then see a big wave 3 all the way down to 110K, our next level of support. see a bounce from 110K to make a wave 4, and then see a wave 5 to come down to 105K, or even to come down and at least take out these lows. Because remember, we had the initial low time frame back test of the pitchfork. We failed. We made new lows below this low. If now we do confirm the rejection of this golden pocket, making a lower high, and we start to impulse down, then we expect to come down and take out our lows. And that is going to be at 107K to 106K, 5K, excuse me. So that is kind of what I'm going to be looking at over the next couple of weeks here for Bitcoin. Of course, we are going into the weekend. We could probably expect some rangy price action. Maybe we're just going to stay and create a range between this area for the weekend. I will say, let's go ahead and go into our liquidation heat map. Now, this is our aggregated liquidation heat map, and it's taking a majority of the major exchanges into account. Yesterday, I talked about this in the stream. We had finally came up and taken out all the liquidity above us. Now, once liquidity is taken, you often see a reversal in price. So we took that liquidity. Now, actually, you can see there is new liquidity above the highs, but look at where that liquidity starts. This liquidity was from highs, the stops from short positions that were all down in this area. Now we had new short positions, short that golden pocket, and there is new liquidity above, but that liquidity starts after those highs. But locally, underneath us, we do have multiple areas of liquidity. You can see our first major liquidity cluster ends at about 113.3. Well, where is 113.3? That is at our value area low of our intermediate range. So if we break our local range, we're going to come grab the liquidity at 113K. We probably will see some sort of bounce here. Golden pocket rejection is what I'll be looking for, because we would have been breaking market structure of these lows. We'd be breaking bearish market structure on higher time frames. So now we can look for a lower high, and then we would come down to our next major liquidity level. Well, where's our next major liquidity level? Let's go on to our liquidation heat map at about 109K, 109, 110K. And that is going to be right at our next box, 109K here. So we would come down, take the next level of liquidity, probably see a little bit of a bounce. But then we would come down, if we zoom out on the liquidation heat map to about a month of price action, you will see that the actual largest level of liquidity below us, if this loads up, is going to be at about 107K, where the lows of our entire ascending channel are. And oftentimes, I talk about this, when you break these ascending channel structures to the downside, you will come sweep the liquidity of the second pivot, which is this pivot here, or majority of the time you will sweep the liquidity of the entire ascending channel. And that is this ascending channel right here. So this is what I'm going to be looking at for Bitcoin. We were expecting a pullback. If Bitcoin was going to create a lower high, this was the resistance. We marked this out ahead of time. We were aware of this ahead of time. We were aware of the bearish divergences ahead of time. We were aware of the money flow. Bear divs, multiple drives of bear divs, money flow leaving out of the asset, multiple drives of bear divs, money flow bearish divergence, 1, 2, 3 drives of money flow bearish divergence, a lot of confirmation to take this trade. Now, I understand yesterday I was hesitant to short the golden pocket up here, but that was because very, very locally we were seeing bullish CVD absorption on the charts, and I was waiting for one more high to be made. Now, in yesterday's live stream, we did cover, let's go into the 15-minute chart. We did cover that local, this area right up here, this very, very local range yesterday here. And when we came up, we broke market structure by taking out our lows, or these lows. We broke market structure by taking out the lows. Because we broke market structure bearishly, now we could look for a lower high at the golden pocket. And if we got that lower high rejection, then we were going to suspect that we would break down. And during the stream yesterday live, we covered this. We covered the rejection from the golden pocket live during the stream. We came up, we hit that golden pocket. We did reject from that golden pocket because we had the break in bearish market structure. We knew that a lower high was possible. And if we were going to reject, it was going to be from this golden pocket or the 786 just above. And we are now losing our local range, this upper very local range, intraday range. We are breaking it down, and we are coming to our 8-day long range value area low right now. So Bitcoin is working very, very technically here. We have perfect technical setups. Guys, I do not see this very much. The markets are very imperfect, but the way these are major support levels, 110K, 113K, 105K, are lining up. All these levels are lining up with major volume supports, major and major liquidity. Remember, I say all this a lot on the channel. The two most important things that run this market are volume and liquidity. Well, we have all of our major liquidation clusters at our levels of support, where we also have major volume levels of support there. So we have very, very nice technical levels to be trading over the next month here. And be patient, wait for the market to get to your setups. Now that if we do come down to this level at 113.5 to 113.3, I will be looking for a long position. But if I take a long position, I'm going to be taking a long position with the theory that we are going to reject from that lower high golden pocket, wherever it comes in at. Then I will be looking for a short from that golden pocket down to our next support level, looking at following a bigger 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave impulse, potentially down to 107K or 105K, where I know that on Bybit, we did actually backtest the anchored VWAP from the 74K lows. But on Coinbase, our anchored VWAP from the 74K lows, if we want to maintain our overall macro uptrend from the 74K lows, if we want to maintain see a bounce from that anchored VWAP, and we want to keep continuing higher. Very, very similar to what we saw on Ethereum when Ethereum came down to its macro anchored VWAP from the lows. It got a bounce. The trend continued. Now, on Coinbase, we have not hit that anchored VWAP yet. This entire move up from 74K. On Coinbase, you can see here on Coinbase, we have not hit it. On Bybit, we did hit it, but hit it once a while back when we came down to this area here. I think it was this Bybit chart here. Yeah, we hit it one time here. Let me get rid of this one. Hit it once, and then we hit it again. But this is the Bybit chart, and for me, the volume levels on the Coinbase chart are far more respected. I have backtested this many, many times, and that is kind of what I am following is the Coinbase chart. So knowing that 105K, about 105.5 to 105K is our macro support level that must hold. We also have, that is our volume level of support to maintain the overall macro trend, but we also have a naked monthly point of control down there, which is a large time frame point of control, which will give us a strong bounce if we do come down there, or it will be a strong level of support. It's not guaranteed to give us a bounce. So that's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin. And we also have to be aware of the head and shoulders or distribution pattern that we often see. This range in here could be a distribution that's about to break down. If we lose 105K, we could see a much bigger distribution down, coming down even to take out your 74K lows. But we'll talk about that if and when that comes. But what I would caution about this bigger range, this intermediate range here that we're seeing, let me go ahead and hide that, and let me turn off our pitchfork for a second, is that we have broken market structure bearishly on the daily time frame, breaking the lows of this range. We broke market structure bearishly. Because we broke market structure bearishly, we now have a greater probability to reject from a lower high to come down and create a lower low. So if we're going to see that three-wave zigzag correction to the downside, we can pull our trend-based Fibonacci extinction, and we can look at our 1-to-1 to 1.236 targets, which would be possible areas where you could end that three-wave zigzag correction. Now, if we do come down here and bounce, we would be losing our anchored VWAP. We would be losing our macro value area high of our 2025 range, all the price action within 2025, this macro value area high, which is coming in at around 110K. And if we do come down and bounce from here, we will have to watch for a rejection and a continuation down, because we'd be re-entering back inside our macro volume profile. And then that means we could see this whole thing as a failed auction breakout on the daily time frame. Let me just zoom out onto the daily here. On the daily time frame, we could be seeing this as a failed auction breakout of our 2025 macro range. Let's turn that on. That's our 2025 macro range. Resistance, resistance, breakout above it, back test of it. But if we fall back inside of it, we can suspect that this all right here was a failed auction type price action, a fail to break above and create new levels of fair value for Bitcoin. And we could see a much, much larger dump to the downside to create that bigger flat correction that we talked about after ending our 5-wave impulse. So let's go ahead and zoom out to the 2-day chart. One of the things that we have been looking at on this channel for months now is our 5-wave Elliot impulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After your 5-wave impulse done, you're looking for a bigger correction. Now, that correction could be a flat correction where you take out the highs of your A wave and then you come down and take out the lows of your A wave, a flat correction in here after seeing the 5-wave impulse. And then you could start a brand new impulse up, or you can continue making a much larger correction, having a complex WXY where it's like a 3-wave correction, then you get another 3-wave correction, and then another 3-wave correction down. So we'll look at that when as more data develops on the charts. But remember, we've been watching this scenario as one of the major, I don't want to say bearish scenarios, because even a flat correction after this giant multi-year move up here, a flat correction in this area and even coming back down to 70K is not that bearish, actually. It's still, your overall macro uptrend is in play. And even coming back down here would kind of reset the market, reset your impulse patterns, and then you could get another impulse up. Now, I do have to say this. We are making significant bear divs on the chart on the daily time frame. Lower highs in the price action, but look at our money flow on the daily time frame. Lower high in the money flow momentum wave. Lower high again. So we have a triple drive of bearish divergence from the 2024 to 2025 highs. Money flow has been draining out of the asset and getting less money has been coming into the asset every single time we make a major daily high, major daily topping formation. So we do have to suspect that the bear market could be starting in the next couple of months. If we zoom out, and this is on the 2-day chart, by the way, this is a 2-day chart. If we zoom out onto the weekly chart, on the weekly chart, we have the same thing. We have higher highs in the price action, your 2024 all-time high, your January 2025 all-time high, and then the all-time high we just made, 3 higher highs in the price action. We have 3 lower highs in the momentum waves, and our money flow is draining out of the asset as we are forming those bearish divergences. And if you even want to go back to 2024 or 2021's bull market top, we have significant bearish divergences between the 2021 bull market top and our potential bull market top coming in now. We also have money flow bearish divergences on those charts on the weekly time frame. These are high time frame bearish divergences that you cannot ignore if you are a technical trader. Now, I'm not saying that the bear market is in right now. I'm not saying that because this is a weekly chart. It takes a while for these weekly bear divs to play out, and we could come up and make one more high and kind of finish this rising wedge or ending diagonal. We have this ending diagonal in play here, and there's a possibility that we do come up and make one more high. Actually, right now it's the higher probability that we still have one more new all-time high in the cards before starting the bear market. But we are definitely closer to the end of the bull market than the beginning of the bull market. Okay, that is my rant for today with Bitcoin. I hope that helped you. If you got anything out of this analysis, please hit the like button, guys. Welcome in. I appreciate you being with me here on a Friday. Very exciting developments happening for Bitcoin. So let me check the chat here. Frank, welcome in. Let's see. Batketo, thank you, man. Cheers to you as well. Since joining Telegram, I didn't notice my regular paycheck anymore. Awesome, Travis. Well, I hope that the Telegram is helpful for you. And I know that I haven't been posting a whole lot in there. It's just because there's not a lot going on in the markets, and I'm not going to post irrational trade setups just to have content in there. So, but welcome in. Thank you for joining. Yeah, Chad P, thank you so much. Welcome in as well. Rob Story, shout out from Vietnam. Well, thank you so much, man. Thank you. Ludong, welcome in. Glay, thank you. And Bangkok, wow, man, welcome in. Crypto Wander, welcome in as well. Yeah, no tariff on the like button, guys. Hit that like button and let's bring it up to the watchers. Maddie Griffin, welcome in as well. Looking at the Anchor VWAPs, what would you expect from the VWAP from the 98K low? Still sitting slightly above the VWAP from the all-time high. Okay, let's check that out. Let's go into our 4-hour chart. And let's look at our, actually, we'll go into the 8-hour chart here. And we will throw an anchored VWAP on from that low. And yeah, I mean, at least on Coinbase, it's a bit different. On Coinbase, it is coming in right underneath our local range lows, our month-long range lows. So that is actually going to be really important. That is coming in at about 114.4, where we do have a local resistance there, a local support, excuse me. So let's SFP. So an SFP into that anchored VWAP might give us a bit of a bounce. We actually have not backtested that anchored VWAP since we broke above it on September 10th, September 9th, September 10th. So yeah, that is a local area where we could see a bounce. But if we bounce there, remember, we would still be taking out this low and breaking market structure bearishly. Even if it's just a swing failure pattern, we would be breaking market structure bearishly, and that means we have a higher probability of creating a lower high before not now creating another lower low and starting a larger bearish downtrend. Please show me how you pulled that pitchfork again. Yes. Okay, so go zoom out onto the daily chart. On the daily chart, you're going to go down to your 2024 range. So down here in the 2024 range, and it's going to be the lows on, what is that? August 5th, Monday, August 5th of 2024. You're going to bring it up to that next swing high and then down to that swing low there. So it's going to look like that here. And then you're going to go into your settings and you're going to turn it on to a modified skiff pitchfork. Now I have only I've created this pitchfork system myself where I have an upper band. I call these the bands. Like this is our upper band. This is our lower band, our midline, and of course the top and the bottom. If you have a regular pitchfork on, it's going to have a lot more levels. So when you go into that pitchfork, go into your settings and just turn on the 0.5, the 618, which is your golden ratio, and then the 1. And that's all that I turn off all the rest of them. And that'll give you your upper band pitchfork, your lower band, and your major midline and top and bottom. Okay. What's up, Machi HK? Welcome in, man. It's really good to see you. How have you been? Yes, we're going to take a look at ETH. ETH is rejecting from our local resistance, and this is why I did take some profit yesterday, guys. I gave the long on Wednesday on Ethereum from that golden pocket with bull divs. Let me zoom into the hourly chart. But now we are rejecting from that golden pocket, and actually I have some very interesting analysis on ETH here. So we took the long from this area here on Wednesday because we had the bull divs on the chart, money flow rising. And yesterday, before we came up to that resistance, I gave you guys this as the resistance where we could reject from. We were actually rejecting from it live during the stream, and I told you guys I took out 35% of my position here. Now, I am still long, but I did take out about another 25% when we broke the golden pocket. When we broke the local golden pocket, I just closed out another 25%. So I have some of that trade open still, but it's really nothing. It's really a nothing trade now. And if we get stopped out, then I'll just look to our next level of support. I will show you guys that in just a second. We'll look at ETH more. Bat Keto, thank you for joining, man. Thank you for joining. Good evening from Morocco. Wow. Said Kahil. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Pump's been good to trade today. Yeah. Pump. It's a crypto. Well, we can look at that in a little bit after we get some of through some of the other altcoins here. I'm not seeing a lot of buying on this drop on Coinac. Yeah. Oh, that's Machi HK. It's all good, man. I'm just glad you're here now, and everything, and hopefully everything's going well for you. ETH might be, yes. We're gonna I went into depth on ETH yesterday, and we'll go into the higher time frames, but I think ETH can actually come down to 3,500. So I'll show you that in a second. But here's the thing on Ethereum. We know that we are in a month-long range. Let me zoom out onto our 4-hour chart. And on Ethereum, we are in about a month and a half long range here. This range, upper range, at the top of our macro pitchfork. So remember, at the top of these macro pitchforks, you often form distribution ranges or topping patterns, like a head and shoulders, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, topping reversal patterns where you can, if you break this range down, you expect distribution. You expect a distribution down. So what we are seeing here is we did form, this does look like a 3-wave corrective move here. Now, that's a pretty aggressive C wave on that 3-wave corrective move. You had your downtrend here, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. And then you had your 1, 2, 3-wave correction to the upside. Now, if we break the golden pocket, which is this golden pocket here, we have a much higher likelihood of actually coming down and taking out the lows here. But I will say this, in a 3-wave zigzag correction, you often will reject from the golden pocket on a lower high, right? That's your most common area. Now, if we just pull that ABC correction target, if this is your A wave, this is your B wave, and now we're expecting a C wave down, let's go ahead. I've already have it on the charts. Let's look at our target. Our target is between the 1-to-1 and the 1.236. Well, look at where our 1-to-1 is at, right on top of our weekly level, right on top of our range point of control. I do think that if we might, in the next couple of days to a week or so, come down to touch that weekly, we could see now a bounce from this weekly, create a lower high, and then overall lower high taking from the high to low here, and then we could see a bigger multiple complex correction. So a series of a WXY correction, pretty much, where you have a 3-wave correction down in W, a 3-wave correction up, and then a 3-wave correction down in Y. We could be seeing that, taking out these range lows. Now, if we take out these range lows at about 4,000, then we would be breaking market structure on higher time frames bearishly. Now, if we break market structure bearishly, we have a very high probability of coming down to our larger support levels. Let's also talk about zooming out onto the 2-day chart and following this macro pitchfork. Now, this macro pitchfork, let me hide this. I'm just going to hide. Actually, we won't hide that yet. We'll hide this. I'm just cleaning up this chart real quick for you guys. Okay, on our macro pitchfork, our macro Elliott wave analysis, we are looking at a 5-wave impulse to end the bull market. A wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and then a wave 5 to come up to maybe even 7K, 6K, 7K to end the bull market. A large weekly time frame impulse here. So what we are looking at, though, is we could be topping out at the top of our pitchfork at a wave 3, at the end of the wave 3, and we could be seeing a larger correction to either the 382, which you can see by the time we get down to that 382, it's going to be in very close alignment with the upper part of our pitchfork band. Now, anytime you reject from the top of a pitchfork, you will often grind your way down to the next major level of pitchfork support, which is the upper band. Now, the 382 is in close alignment with the upper part of the band. And this is our upper band here. This is your lower band here. Now, if we do come down to the 382, there's a potential we could bounce from that 382 because oftentimes in a wave 4, you will retrace to the 382 to the 0.5 pulled from the lows of wave 3 to the highs of wave 3. So that's just simple Elliott wave analysis. And the other target, the other macro target is the 0.5 Fibonacci. Between the 0.382 and the 0.5 are your major levels that you're looking for. Now, the reason why I really, really love this $3,500 area, I mean, we have so much support in this area here. We have our 0.5 Fibonacci. We have our macro 4-year long range value area high. We have the bottom of the pitchfork band. We have a naked daily point of control. And I believe there was a weekly there as well, and a weekly level down there, a fresh weekly level. I mean, we have so much. If we came down in a larger, let's see, 1, 2, 3, like we get a larger WXY correction to come down to that 0.5, or a larger complex correction in here that lasts a couple months to come down to that 0.5 Fibonacci to the bottom of the pitchfork band, I would be looking at the greatest swing long of, well, no, okay, a good swing long. Let's say that. Let's not get too ambitious here. I'd be looking for a really nice, good swing long, 2 new all-time highs. Now, if we come down to the 382 and it looks like we're having some nice bull divs, we might not make it down here. But these two macro levels between the 382 here and the 0.5, obviously the 0.5 is the nicest macro support level below us. I really, really want that. If we come down there in a bigger 3-wave corrective move, bounce from that, that could be your whole wave 4 that lasts a couple of months. Remember, your wave 4 usually lasts longer than your wave 2 correction. And then we could get our final 5th wave, which would in itself would be a 5-wave impulse, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a 5-wave impulse to new all-time highs, and not just a peak above the all-time high, to new all-time highs by far. So that is what I'm looking at on Ethereum. Now, until we lose our upper range on Ethereum, this upper, what looks like a distribution range, I do have to say this, guys, this does look like a distribution range, this range here. Let me turn off our, let's do this. Okay, yeah, that upper range right in here does look like a distribution range. This guy right here. And why do I say that? If we look at this range, first of all, it's at the top of our macro pitchfork where we do expect to pull back. You can see yesterday, where did we reject? We touched the top of the pitchfork literally like to the dollar. Touched the top of the pitchfork to the dollar. It was also our golden pocket. It was also the value area high of our month-long range, our month-and-a-half long range, our distribution range up here. Now, if we zoom out onto the daily chart and we look at that, not the 2-day, the daily chart, and we look at this daily distribution range, a possibility of a distribution range in here. Well, very similar. I showed this in yesterday's live stream, but very, very similar to Bitcoin in its January, February range of 2025. As we were making higher highs in the price action, we were making lower highs in the momentum waves, confirming a triple drive of bear div. But money flow was still looking pretty damn solid. So we wanted to wait for money flow to start draining out of the asset as the range continues to form and mature. Now that the range is continuing to form and mature, we just created a lower high. This looks more like a distribution range. Let me go back and show you an example on Bitcoin. If we go back to Bitcoin and we look at the daily time frame, our last big, let me hide this, our last all-time high range here from November to February, and we look at as we were forming those higher highs, we were getting the drives of bear div. Then we came up, now in this case it was a swing failure pattern of the all-time high, but we continued to create bearish divergences on the chart. But as this range was forming, everyone was expecting new highs. I came in November and made a video about this being a distribution that we were going to break down, not a reaccumulation, but a distribution, because my bias was that because money flow had been draining out of the asset as the range was forming. That is that'll give you a bias that the range could be a distributive range instead of a reaccumulation. So bearish divs, money flow draining out of the asset as the range forms. Let's go back to Ethereum. Ethereum, range forming, bearish divs, money flow draining out of the asset as the range forms. And if you even want to look at this whole entire bearish divs, continuing. So we could see that distribution of this small upper range, this intermediate upper range here, to come down to 3,500 or 3,700, 3,768 to like 3,869. That is what I'm looking at for Ethereum. Now, locally, of course, we can play our local scalps. That's why I told you guys yesterday, on Wednesday, when I longed the golden pocket, we had multiple drives of 2-hour bull div coming in down and actually hitting our golden pocket. I longed this, but I told you guys I'm looking at this as a scalp. I'm looking to take some profit here and potentially, if we get up here, I was going to pretty much take more profit and potentially close out the long position. Now, we did reject from the value area high, from our pitchfork top, and from our golden pocket. So now we have a greater probability of this being a 3-wave corrective move and coming down to our 1-to-1 Fibonacci extension target, which is the ABC correction target, which happens to be literally right at your weekly level, right at your point of control of the range. You reject, and now let's also talk about a different strategy, volume profile trading strategy. You attempted to break out of the volume profile. You got a failed auction here above the volume profile. That a failed auction is when it's like a peak above the highs. You try to continue the momentum, but you fail and you break back inside the range. That means that now that we found reacceptance, we had the failed auction, we found reacceptance back within inside of our range by breaking back inside your range. Now we came up after bouncing from local support, we came up to back test that range to confirm that we wanted to trade the fair value of Ethereum back inside of our range. Well, guess what? We rejected yesterday, now confirming that Ethereum wants to trade between the fair value of 46.16 and 42.70, let's say 42.67. So now that we've rejected the value area high, we have a high probability of coming down to test our point of control. Well, guess what? That is such, once again, the technicals are lining up so nicely for Bitcoin and Ethereum right now, because now we know we can have that 3-wave zigzag correction and create a higher low, and that would put us right at our very important level of support. Now, remember, this box here has already been tapped. I still left it on the charts because I'm long from that area. I'm long from the touch of this golden pocket, but this box of support has been tapped. So in some ways now, oops, didn't mean to do that. Now we can kind of get rid of it, hide it. Now our next real level of support that hasn't been tapped is down here at that $4,300 area, 43.05. So now I will be looking for a long position if we do come down there. Oh, guys, give me a second. My mouse just died. Okay, so yeah, Ethereum's trading very nicely. And once again, guys, we trade the range until it breaks, right? We're in this upper range, but we don't know if it's done yet. And we don't know for sure that it's distribution. My bias is distribution based off the bear divs and money flow draining out of the asset, but nothing is certain in trading. So right now, my bias is this is going to be a distribution range, and we're going to break down to some of these lower levels down here. But it's not a guarantee. And until we lose this range, we're going to just trade the important levels within this range. Scalp trade important levels within this range. And that's what I am going to be doing. So, and overall, if you want to remain really bullish, you could be looking at this. I mean, this is very hard to count as a 1, 2, 3, you know, like a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, because first of all, your internal 1, 2 would be bigger than your initial 1, 2. But also that move up was a 3-wave corrective move here. This is more like a 3-wave corrective move here. So everything to me is looking like lower is going to come for Ethereum with some bounces along the way to create some lower highs, and then, you know, liquidity grab, maybe reject, you know, to continue the bearish trend. Yes, so let's see here. Let me check the chat here. I'm leaning on 4.2K won't hold. Yeah, that 4.2K area of support, very important liquidity, because we have our liquidity from this low and we have our liquidity from these equal lows down here. Now, that's not actually our range low liquidity. Our range low liquidity is coming in at this $4,000 level, 4,066. I think that if we do see a bigger breakdown, now this could be because we rejected this golden pocket in a very bearish scenario. We created our 3-wave corrective move, making that lower high in that left shoulder, or that tap 3 of a Model 2 distribution, tap 1, tap 2, tap 3. And this could actually be the start of not a corrective move down, a corrective 3-wave move down, but this could be the start of a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, 4, 5. That could be your 5-wave impulse down to create a bigger correction, you know, a bigger correction. And then actually I would want to come down even to at least hit that 382 or that 0.5. And remember, we're looking for our larger wave 4 corrective move over the next couple of months before getting our final impulse in a wave 5 to the upside. Everybody think we have topped on BTC for this cycle. I don't think we have topped yet, PJR, but I think we're close to it. I think we're close. I do not think, I mean, I remember it was in mid 2024, or I think it was late 2024, when Jason told me to start my channel. Jason Casper, great friend of mine, solid dude, love the guy to death. He was the one who encouraged me to start this. So if you guys are happy that I'm streaming, it's because of him. I showed him a technical analysis, a macro analysis chart of Bitcoin where I talked about Bitcoin topping out around 145K, 144 to 145K. And I think that we might be able to make it up there. Now, it's looking less likely that we're actually going to make it all the way up there, but I do think we have one more high to be made on Bitcoin before ending the bull market. Let's see, 135 to 140. Yeah, Travis, that's a very solid, good, rational level to be looking between 135 to 140K. Dare we say generational long? Yeah, right, T-Mat? Like generational long from 3,500. No, I mean, a generational long would have been longing the bottom. You know, the macro 4-year long range value area low. Let me go zoom out onto the 3-day chart. Like this here was a generational long opportunity right here, because if we turn on our 4-year long range, let's turn on that 4-year long range. Look at value area low. We tapped the value area low of that 4-year long range. And once we tapped it, boom. You know, that would have been the nicest long position ever if you're still in it. Look at this. 3 lower lows on the price action, 3 higher lows on the momentum waves. Now, the thing that was really quite confusing with this is money flow looked like garbage, and it actually continued to look like garbage for quite a while, you know, and then we started really coming up. But you can also see that money flow is topping out here, and we do have bear divs, money flow topping out here. And that is a sign that we could get that bigger move down before seeing the last 5th wave here. Okay. I am at the beginning of the video. I came in late. Like we were saying, going back under 100K soon. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to go to under 100K just quite yet. We're going to look at the more local, you know, you play level to level. As a trader, you play level to level. So we're watching level to level. If you I talked about marked out, you know, 114K or 113.5K, 110K, 105K. Is there a monthly bear div? Yes, there is. Let me actually go on to Bitcoin and I will show you guys. This is another reason why I think the bear market could be starting soon. Let me go on to the larger chart here and let's go onto our monthly time frame. Now, in this macro pitchfork, by the way, this pitchfork was pulled from the prior COVID 2020 lows up to our prior bull market highs down to our lows of the bear market. Let me just show you here. Not only do we have bearish divergences between our last cycle all-time high to this cycle all-time high, but now we have locally within this cycle from our 74K highs, our initial all-time high in 2024, to our January 2025 all-time high, to our all-time high that we just made, we have a triple drive of bearish div on the monthly chart. Triple drive of bearish div on the monthly chart. Now, the one thing that has kept us bullish here is that money flow does not look bad, and money flow had been kind of rising, or at least staying kind of consistently flat here. But if we close this month in 11 days bearishly, and this money flow starts to kind of roll down, that's all we're waiting for, guys. All we're waiting for to confirm, to really confirm that these macro monthly bull divs, bear divs are going to play out, is for that money flow to top out and start coming to the downside. Now, on NAMI is really good for money flow because it's based off actual money flow and it is much quicker than Market Cipher B. You can see that on the monthly chart, our money flow is still rising. So that also gives us a bias that we could peak one more high up here, one more all-time high before really seeing the bear market come in. But we are closer to the end of the bull market than to the beginning based off the technical indicators. The technical indicators are saying the bear market is close. Not here yet, but close. So just be aware, guys. I know everyone thinks everything can go up forever, but we are looking at significant bearish divergences on monthly, weekly, daily time frames. Okay, 4-hour chart. Yeah, and I do want to show you one more thing on Bitcoin. So if we were looking at this entire ascending channel, remember I showed you that ascending channel at the beginning of the stream. Our ascending channel in here, it looks like it's attempting to break down now. Actually, we'll zoom in on Bitcoin in just a second here. But if this is the end of this price action to the upside, this bullish momentum, and we start to break the ascending channel, then oftentimes you will drop to that golden pocket. Now, you can see the golden pocket is coming in at our pitchfork midline. I want to show you guys this pitchfork because I've also had this pitchfork on the charts since mid 2024. We've had this pitchfork on the charts, since the end of the 2024 correction. So on the daily chart, this is pulled from our wave 3 lows of the Elliot impulse to our wave 3 highs down to our wave 4 low corrections. Now, since what day was this? Since August of 2024, I've had this pitchfork on the charts. Actually, I put it on a little bit later, so probably at the end of August. I put it on around when Bitcoin was in this price action here. But this is our macro Elliott wave, wave 3 pitchfork. You can see how nicely this has been respected. This is why I was shorting up here when everyone was thinking Bitcoin was going to go to 120K. I said, we have bear divs. We have money flow draining out of the asset. I think this range is going to be a distribution range. And all we were waiting for was to lose this part of the band, the upper band. We were waiting to lose the upper band. Once we lost it, back tested it, come to the lower band. Now, with this pitchfork that is called every major pivot in this market so freaking well, you can see that the last time we came down to that midline, we bounced. And we had a very nice bounce from the midline. A very, very nice bounce from this midline. And we bounced up a significant $25,000 push to the upside. We now, by the way, that was after rejecting from the upper band. You reject from the upper band, 3-wave zigzag correction down, making a higher low, and then now a higher high. But we came up to the upper band again. We attempted to break above it, could not, lost it, attempted again to break above the band, lost it. Now we dropped to the midline, right? The midline held its support a second time. We got a significant raise, multi-$1,000 pump from the second touch of that $10,682 pump from the touch of the midline. Now that this midline has been flipped from resistance here into support, it could act as support again. Right? It could act as support again. It's been a very strong level. Every time we come down to it, we get a major reaction. So if we pull our golden pocket from the lows at 107K to the highs that we just made yesterday, that golden pocket happens to be where your anchored VWAP from our 2024, May all-time high was, in confluence with the pitchfork midline and your golden pocket. So that golden pocket could be a nice level where we bounce, creating a higher low before seeing a wave 3 impulse, higher high, higher low, higher high, finishing your 5-wave impulse, coming up to 136 to about 145K, where we could top the bull market. In a very, very bullish scenario, we could come up to 160, 170K. But I do think the next time, if we come up to the top of this, this could be the end of the bull market. These pitchforks are very, very strong levels. Very, very, this pitchfork has been so well respected on macro timeframes. So well respected that I will be looking for major short positions at the upper band, both levels, the lower part of the upper band, the upper part of the upper band, and at the top, I will definitely be looking for swing short positions. Okay, let's see here. Is there a monthly bear dive? Yep, I got that. I'm hoping that ETH doesn't need to correct that long. Hopefully a quicker flush down, let's say 1 to 2 weeks till early. Yeah, Machi HK, I understand that. You know, the wave 2 correction was not that long, to be honest, because, you know, you could look at this as kind of a flat correction in here and look at all of this, which was that, I think, about 3 months. But from the high to the low was only a couple of weeks. So it could be. But remember, your wave 4 corrections usually last longer than your wave 2 corrections. So if we're looking at the larger Elliott wave analysis of a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5, then that wave 4 oftentimes does last longer than your wave 2. Okay. ETH is so corrupted since its inception. I think in today's world, it has good old days ahead of it. Yeah. Yeah, please smash the like, guys. Thank you, Roy, and welcome in. Do you think ETH from all-time high to 4.2K is a wave A, move back up to 4.7 in a B and a C? Yes. So that's, yeah, Machi HK, that's what I am looking at as a potential in a bullish scenario. In the bullish scenario, if this wave 3 is not fully done yet, the more macro wave 3, then yes, I'm looking at this as a B, C, possibly a flat correction, you know, maybe to come out to take out your lows down here at 4.2K, seeing a bigger flat correction in here, and then you could continue. But also very, very locally, we could be looking at this as a 3-wave correction and just still ranging within this range. But remember, if this is a big A wave, this is a B wave, then in your C wave, you want to see a 5-wave impulse, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a 5-wave impulse, and it would actually be best to come take out these lows. So you have your 5, 3, 5. That's your bigger ABC correction. It seems that now Friday set the range, set the rage for much longer term. Yeah, I think, you know, we knew that these were important levels on Bitcoin. We knew that this was the level of resistance that we would reject from. Like, it was not unexpected, and the range could continue, this overall range. But remember, within this overall range, we had broken market structure bearishly by taking out those lows. So now we can also be aware of breaking the range down, creating a lower low. You need to walk on a treadmill. Yes, I know. But you know what? I am not good with the mouse, and I don't know if I was walking. If you know, I'm already super shaky with this mouse, so I don't know if I could do that. I need to turn down my mouse, like, settings. Yeah. What is the bottom indicator? This indicator is called NAMI Trading, and I am partnered with NAMI Trading. If you're interested, thank you, Sudeep. Sudeep posted it in the chat, and I do have a 50% off discount code. I really appreciate that, Sudeep. Thank you so much. Yeah, here comes Bitcoin 100K, ETH 3750. Yeah, Maddie Ghost, I think that's a big possibility. Now, I don't know if I'd say 100K. I'd say 105K is a very, very strong level of support. But we could. If you look at MCB daily green dot below zero line, good place for a swing long. If you look at MCB daily, every green buy dot below the zero line is a good place for swing long. Okay, daily level, a green dot below the zero line. Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. So let's wait for a green dot below that on the daily time frame. But look, we're just topping out on the daily here. We could spend some time coming down and creating that dot. Now, if we do that and we come down here and we create that bigger 3-wave corrective move, and we have bull divs with the green dot here, woo, that would be very nice. That would be very nice. And that would give us that one last all-time high, 3-wave correction down to 105, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, coming up to 136 to 143, where we could see the upper band of the pitchfork, you know, like something like boom, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ending the bull market, rising wedge structure, ending diagonal, whatever you want to call it. Yes, Tima, I'll check Chainlink. Thank you so much, dude. Thank you so much. Let's look at Chainlink right now. I'm sorry, I didn't see that super chat, even though it was in bright yellow there. Okay, first off, on Chainlink, let me turn off some of these levels here. We did cover Chainlink yesterday, but remember, guys, Chainlink is in this upper range as well on the daily time frame. We're in a topping range up here. Now, I would say this is bad. Higher highs, lower highs, triple drive, or you got your bear divs here, but now that money flow has been consistently draining out of the asset as the range forms, guys, that's a sign that this could be a breakdown range, not a break up, but a breakdown, because the money flow is draining out of the asset as the range is forming. Let's go ahead and zoom in here on the charts, and let's look at the 4-hour chart. So we did not come down. Actually, yes, we came down and we bounced from our level of support on Wednesday. That was our local level that we marked out ahead of time. I think we marked this out on Monday's video. But it is our internal swing failure pattern into your value area low of the range, and your 786 was down there. So, and why did we mark that out? Because we did reject from the value area high. Remember, this area, we had also marked this out. So I called the short from here. I'd called the long from here. We're getting perfect levels of respect on this asset. And remember, I even did take my profits on my long. I was long on Chainlink from the re-entry back inside the volume profile. But if you pulled that fib from the highs to the lows, I actually shorted this golden pocket, or I took profit on that golden pocket touch. Because we did touch the golden pocket. There was also a weekly level there. We didn't quite touch the weekly level at the 0.65, but this was our major area of resistance. So rejected there. I didn't short it because I was waiting to come up to touch the weekly, but then we came down to our local support level. Now I didn't long this because I was focused on Ethereum, and now we're still just chopping around within this larger range here. So let's, this range, pull it. We're at the point of control of the range now. And if we look at, let me turn off this weekly again. If we look at, and let me get rid of this golden pocket just to clean up the chart. Just this internal move here. I mean, I do think that it could be a three-wave corrective move as well, coming down to take out these lows. Let's pull our trend-based Fibonacci extinction from the highs to the lows to the highs. Yeah, coming down to the 1-to-1 to the 1.236. If we throw on those prior lows there, that swing failure pattern is in between that area. I would even say coming down to take out these lows would be really nice. But overall, remember, I'm bullish macro on Chainlink. I'm bullish, looking for at least a $35 area, at least. But before we get there, I want to see a move to about 20.6, $20.60, because we are, let me show you guys that if we zoom out onto the daily time frame, we have our 2-year long range here. It goes back to November of 2023. So this is our macro volume profile, the fair value over the last couple of years for Chainlink. Now you can see here what happened. We broke out of that range. We broke above it with a nice volume imbalance candle to the upside. But since breaking out of it, we have not back tested it to confirm a flip to support. In a healthy market, you will back test it to confirm a healthy flip, and then you go to the next major pitchfork level. So I am looking now at this being a corrective descending kind of channel down to about 20.6, where we do have our range lows down there. We have the SFP of our range lows into that macro support level. If we come down there, I will be looking for a swing long at 20.6. And that would also give us some time for these bear divs to play out. Hopefully by then money flow would be coming back up and we can create a bull div on the daily time frame. So that is what I'm looking at more macro for Chainlink. But if we zoom in on Chainlink and we look at the local range, this range is all the price action pretty much above our channel midline, or pretty much all the price action above the breakout of the macro value area high. This is where we broke the macro value area high. You can see even since we broke it, we didn't even have the immediate low time frame back test. We had a pullback, but not an actual back test. So this range in here, this range in here is what I'm looking at, playing this range until it breaks. Now, I think that we have that liquidity that's sitting down there at 20.85. You can see I have an alert set here. If we come down and grab our range low liquidity into that macro value area high, you bet I'm going to be freaking long in that sucker. I am going to look for a nice swing long opportunity to come up to higher levels. Very locally, we are going into the weekend. We're probably just going to chop around within this volume profile. You know, we could come down to the value area low. We didn't actually touch that 786, and we actually didn't touch the value area low. You can see the value area low here was barely front ran. So we could just come down and see a liquidity grab of Wednesday's lows into the 786 and continue chopping around inside this volume profile. But let's pull a fib. Actually, let's pull a fib from Wednesday's lows to yesterday's highs. Yeah, we're breaking the golden pocket already, so that's not a good sign. 786 is just below us, and we're at the point of control. So I would say your very local level of support. Now, I'm not interested in longing this. I am not interested in longing right now, but your very local level of support is this guy right here. We could come down, bounce. Looks like we're already kind of hitting into that box. but that would be an area where you could see a bounce. If we do bounce from here, though, guys, I would be very cautious of bouncing, rejecting that midline, and coming down. Very similar to right here. Coming down to make new lows. Money flow looks kind of bearish here, is draining out of the asset, crossing over into the red on NAMI, draining out on market cipher B. And if we zoom out to the 4-hour chart, on the 4-hour chart, money flow draining out of the asset ever since our high last Friday, draining out of the asset, bear divs here, money flow bear divs. Actually, it's not bear divs because this is not a higher high, but it's money flow draining out of the asset on the 4-hour time frame. And then if we go to our 8-hour time frame, 8-hour time frame, really money flow's kind of topping out here. Yeah, we're kind of starting to squeeze, actually. You can see this starting to squeeze here. Let's actually be more precise with this. Let's grab our raise. So yeah, that's your squeeze that's happening. And this does look like, now here's the thing, guys, hold on, I want to hide that. I don't want to delete that. The thing is, we do not have to come back down to 20.6. It would be very nice and very healthy to, but we don't have to. We could be chopping around in a bull pennant, right? You have your big pole here. Now you have your pennant that's forming here. And this thing could just grab the liquidity from from Wednesday and rock it. It doesn't have to go down to 20.6. But for me, I would like to see it go down to 20.6. I think it's healthier to go down to 20.6. And as far as our money flow kind of draining out of the asset, it does look like 20.6 is more probable to me. Okay. Once again, we bounce at Wall Street close. At the Wall Street close. Yeah, I mean, market close. 103 to 105 CME gap. Okay. Yes, we'll have to be aware of that. Thank you for that. I wasn't paying attention to that gap, so now I am aware that there's a gap there. Look at what the heck is my mouse doing? Unless you have a 4K to 8K, then you need a higher DPI sensitivity. Oh, thank you. That's for the mouse. I think I have, God, what is this mouse? It's like a it's got a G on it. It's like a gaming mouse. It's got a G on it. I think it's a Razer or something like that. But it's supposed to be a good one. I think it was like $100 or something stupid like that. But wave 3 can't be the shortest you're right. Wave 3 cannot be the shortest in an ending diagonal. You're absolutely right. If we're looking at Bitcoin, is wave 3 the shortest? Let's see here. Because right now, let's go to that 2-day chart. Yeah, in an ending diagonal, you definitely can't have your wave 3 be the shortest. But and I guess if we did come up to like 136K, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so maybe we're only going to come up to 126, 127K. Like, actually, let's be more precise with this one as well. Let's grab RA. Maybe we are only going to come up and hit, up to 129K or so. 130. So the last impulse should barely claim all-time high. Oh, yes, you just said it right, App. I'm sorry, I didn't read that, but you're right, Hamza. Hamza, you know your Elliot waves. Potentially a green dot at the end of September would be rough if you roughly draw it out. Yes, and Sudeep, that would be really nice to see. Correction through all of September when historically it's been kind of a bullish month. Get retail wrecked and then go. We'll do Sol and AVAX, SUI, XMR. Yeah, we'll look at some of the altcoins right now, guys. I'm sorry, I've been spending a lot of time on just 2 coins. I wonder if you could spider line the whole chart just using pitchforks. I don't use spider lines. I know spider lines are not pitchforks, but they are similar. They're just trend. Any ray, any pitchfork, anything, you're just looking at the trend, right? A bullish momentum. So you're pulling that trend and you're looking at the bullish trend, you lose that trend support, then you expect a bigger drop. So that's what a pitchfork is. It's just measuring the strength of a trend and the major levels to short and long in that within that trend. And then same with spider lines. I'd like not to sleep. I would like it to not sweep Wednesday low, but if we do, lower in my opinion. Yeah, Logitech. Maybe this is a Logitech. I can adjust it in G Hub. Thank you, Drew. I did not know that. I will check that out. Will Bitcoin go reach all-time high within the next 2 weeks? In my opinion, no, not within 2 weeks. I think that it's actually more likely that within the next 2 weeks we reach a new low, maybe 105K, because I'm looking at this bigger three-wave corrective move down in the next couple of weeks, and then one last impulse. Okay, let's go into some of the altcoins. We will do when I think the expiration was today. I don't know exactly what time though. Solana, guys, Solana rejected from our box. Remember, this was our local resistance that we talked about, but that was just an internal local resistance. The main area that I've been talking about for months on the chart was between 252 and 256. We were looking at coming up to this resistance and seeing a harsh rejection from this resistance box. It was also near the top of our pitchfork. You do see these distribution patterns that form. So now what I'm looking for, left shoulder, head. If we break market structure bearishly, right shoulder at the top of the pitchfork again, just like we saw with Ethereum rejecting the top of the pitchfork after falling back inside of it. I'm looking for Solana to come down a little bit more, reject on a lower high, creating that distribution pattern at the top of the pitchfork, and then seeing a drop, maybe even down to our midline around 200 bucks. We did bounce from our wave 3 or our wave 4 impulse. We were looking at just this as a 1, 2, 3, 4 coming down to your 382. And now we could have ended this internal impulse within here, within a much bigger impulse. But if we did, now then that we ended that, we could look at pulling your golden pocket from, let me get rid of this now. We could be looking at pulling your golden pocket from the lows of the impulse, coming down to your golden pocket and seeing a bounce from the golden pocket. Now, look at where this golden pocket is. What else is there? It is a very, very important support resistance flip. So if we just mark that as a support resistance flip area, resistance, now it could act as support. And I would say it's just this general, I would say it's more of a general area in here, support resistance flip. But that 214 to 216 area, or 215 to 217, let's say, we could be dropping down to there in the next couple of weeks. I don't like how we didn't come up. I wanted to actually hit 256. If we turn on our levels here, we did hit the weekly level, and remember that 786 was there as well. 786. Our macro 786 fib pull from high to low down here. That's 786, and that weekly level was hit. But I wanted to see us come up to the daily level at 256. It's also a naked weekly point of control. It's also a naked monthly point of control up there. That is our nice level. But it's, let's see if we see a rejection from here. We also could be creating a, we had a bunch of 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2s, or like I could say 1, 2, 1, 2. This was your third wave here. So we could see like 4, 5, 4, 5s coming up to 256 up there or even higher. But we're at resistance. We're rejecting from resistance. We do have bear divs on the chart. Let me turn off these levels now. Bear divs on the chart. This is your little range that you're playing right now, your upper range. Losing the point of control, backtesting right now. And also, I will be aware of SFPing these range lows for a local. If we're going to get one more high up into 256, if we do this, something like this, come down, SFP that into that pitchfork band, and then see one more push up to 256, creating that tap 1, tap 2, tap 3 of a little mini distribution pattern up here before seeing that bigger distribution down. So for locally for Sol, we do have the bear divs on the chart, money flow bear divs on the chart for NAMI. Market Cipher B is finally starting to top out on that money flow. And that could give us that bigger drop either to the band or to the midline. Obviously, if we get a much larger drop from this, remember, we long this support down here, but if you pull your fib from those lows to, now I have to adjust it to our new high, 184 to 187 could be a really nice level, because by the time we get down there, it's going to be in alignment with this lower band. It's not like it's going to drop straight away. So we could see something like this. Break down, kind of range within here like we often do, back test it, bounce from here, lower high, come down to macro golden pocket, seeing a bigger bullish continuation of this trend. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. Now, your wave 4, you'd actually, you don't want to come down this low for a wave 4. That would invalidate the impulse. But I guess then you would have to look at this not as maybe as even a double 1-2, a 1-2, 1-2, and then your big third wave. But that's a little bit too ambitious for me. Yeah, a little bit too ambitious. But yeah, locally, I would just say Solana, I would be playing this upper range for now. Play the range until it breaks. We are rejecting from resistance with bear divs. We are at the top of a pitchfork. Be aware that this is where you often see distribution patterns happen. You know, coming down to this 219 level would be pretty nice. Let's pull a fib from here. Oh, come on. Yeah, 220 to 218. That would kind of be nice, because you see we do have that golden pocket. Now, technically, that's from the start of wave 3 to the end of wave 5. So that's not the best golden pocket. You should be pulling it from the low of the impulse. And if you do that, it's a little bit lower. But, you know, we could see a bounce from here just because your pitchfork support's there. Okay, let's go to AVAX real quick. AVAX rejected from our resistance box, guys. I talked to you, we're in the resistance area, a macro resistance area. But overall on AVAX, I'm bullish. I am bullish as heck on AVAX, because we had our accumulation pattern, right? Our accumulation range down here. You can see this was clear accumulation. We tapped our 1-to-1 target, our macro 1-to-1. Big 3-wave corrective target on the weekly time frame. Higher low, tapping into your 1-to-1, and now we could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, seeing that expansion after seeing accumulation. This is accumulation. You can see rejection from value area high, rejection from value area high, rejection from value area high. Now we're finally breaking that accumulation range with volume, with a big, nice volume candle to the upside. What did I just do? Breaking this value area high with a nice big spike in volume imbalance candle. Because we are breaking that, we also even flipped this daily to support. You can see that daily was flipped to support. I'm going to get rid of that now. And now we are coming up to our macro resistance, right? We have our daily, we have our golden pocket. I wanted to come up to 36.6. I talked about this in yesterday's live stream, because that's where your naked monthly point of control, your internal liquidity grab, and your dailies at 36.6 to 36.7. And I like it. And I understand that this liquidity looks insignificant, because all of this here, you know, you have your SFP, 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 SFP. But the thing is right before this macro major dump down, this was your last high there. So there is people that shorted this macro dump that their stops are above there. So that internal liquidity is still important. So yeah, we're at resistance. We could see a pullback from here. Now, here's the thing. We're breaking out of your accumulation range. Anytime you break out, you oftentimes will reject from a macro resistance, come back down, back test that range now as support, and then you continue expansion. So if we do come back down to about $26, you bet I'll be freaking looking for swing long opportunities at $26. I'm just going to set an alert here close to it. $800 to $1,600 DPI. Thank you much, HK. Okay, so that's kind of it for AVAX. Excuse me, AVAX. Next resistance above us is this guy up here, and I think that value area high that I was talking about was of this internal range, this little internal range here that we were looking at. Yeah, value area high of that range is up in there. You have the SFP up there of all of this. If you start coming and grabbing this liquidity, you're going to sweep it all. You know, it's going to be swept up to there. The pitchfork band. Now, let me check that pitchfork out. Not this one. That's your lower band. Oh, here's another thing. We're breaking out of the pitchfork, our small pitchfork here. You can see it was a little bit of resistance. We're breaking out of it now very nicely. And in a very bullish scenario, you're just going to reject from here, come back down, back test this, and then keep going. But the more healthy thing would be to come down, back test that value area high, and then keep going. Value area high would be in alignment with the upper band of the pitchfork. This is our local pitchfork that we're watching right now. And we did hit into the pitchfork band. We barely front ran it, but pitchfork band. So if we're going to remain bullish, so the thing is it's very likely that we're going to form a range at this macro resistance inside this purple box. Here, come down to the midline, bounce, maybe create a lower high before breaking this down. But oftentimes ranges form within these bands, around and within these lower bands. I do think a range is going to form up here, and we're either going to see the rejection and a harsh drop, or we're going to see the continuation up to the top of the pitchfork. And by that time, we might be in alignment up here. If it takes a while, you know, we form that range. Let me get rid of this. You know, come down here, bounce, lower high, and then create a range in here, maybe taking the liquidity of both sides. Come up here, chop within this thing like we often do. That is a kind of a bullish scenario that we could be looking at. Yeah, this is your bigger bearish pitchfork, and that's the top of the pitchfork. Now, it's no longer in alignment with the band, so we'll do this, and we'll go top of the pitchfork there. We've had this resistance on the chart for a long time, since February. Daily, weekly up there. SFPs, value area high of this local upper range. Okay, let me unplug this mouse now. All right, then let's go into SUI. Now, SUI is looking pretty nice here, but we did reject the value area, or the point of control in the golden pocket. We are coming down right now locally. SUI, I'm just trading this range. Now, remember, this range is all the range within the descending channel, our descending channel correction here. And yesterday in the stream, we talked about coming up and rejecting from this resistance between $3.93 and $4. We came up, we hit the golden pocket. Let me move that out of the way a little bit. We hit the golden pocket. We hit the point of control. We're rejecting. Now, here's the thing. I posted about this in the Telegram this morning. We're coming down to your local golden pocket, which is in confluence with the back test of this channel. If we're truly going to break this trend, this bearish trend here, break it to the upside, back test it, and continue up to our next resistance, then we want to bounce from where we're at right now. I don't know if we're going to. If we don't, I do think the next level is going to obviously be this value area low of your upper range in confluence with your much bigger range point of control, and grabbing last Wednesday's lows, last Monday's lows. So you have the SFP down here, if I can get it, SFP at 346 and into your value area low and your POC. Now, since we've already tested that once, I don't like it too much, but it's a possibility that we do. And we would be falling back inside the channel. So I would also be aware of, if you fall back inside this channel, sure, you could bounce from this level again, but also watch for a rejection, re-entry, acceptance back into the channel and coming down to your next level. 786 in confluence with that anchored VWAP from the lows. That anchored VWAP we talked about, it's from the lows down here. And then, of course, if we break that, I do think we're going to end up coming down to this golden pocket, naked weekly POC, and there's also a naked daily POC down here as well. Naked daily POC is at 295. And I don't keep the object tree. Oh, yeah, I do. Okay, naked daily, naked weekly, golden pocket. Those are your three support levels that I'm looking at. If we break above this golden pocket value area high, POC value area high, golden pocket area, then I do think we're going to take out our highs into our macro value area high. That's what this is, this macro range, this more macro range, value area high right up here, and 445 really. Okay, let's see here. Guys, give me a second here. I've got to respond to this message, okay? Give me like 1 minute. Okay, guys, sorry about that. I just had to respond really quickly there. Yeah. And let's check XMR real quick. I know that we did look at XMR the other day. I think it was on Kraken. No. KuCoin maybe? Yeah, KuCoin. We did reject from the value area high of the range. And because we rejected from the value area high, there is a potential we could move down to this macro support level, naked weekly, naked day, a monthly point of control, 270 to 268. We do have this golden pocket. And remember, this golden pocket is also a nice support resistance flip area. If we just throw this on the chart, support resistance flip, resistance, 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 support kind of in here. So we could come back down to this golden pocket. And overall on Monero, it does look like we could be in a double 1-2 impulse. 1, 2, 1, 2, your big third wave here. Now we're looking for a 4, 5, 4, 5 to continue up to, I would say 350, that 358 area, 350 to 358. That could be the end of this entire impulse here. But locally on XMR, we want to see that 3-wave zigzag correction really, if you hit this golden pocket, it invalidates the impulse. So coming down here is a support level, but you do not want to hit that. Now, in your wave 4 correction, you're looking for a 3-wave zigzag correction. We really didn't come that high here, which is a shame. We can still take out that low from Wednesday, I think. Yeah, Wednesday's low, SFP that low, and then create that 5-wave impulse in your first 5. Then you would get another 3-wave correction in a 4, and then you get another 5-wave impulse in your last 5. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, coming up to 358. If you do hit this golden pocket at 283 to 280, it's going to invalidate that impulse. And in that case, I would be looking for a bigger move down to 270 to 260. You could also throw on this range down here, little accumulation range. This was an accumulation range. Broke out of that range, and you can see your POC of that range is there. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at for XMR. So you do not want to hit 283. If you hit 283, that's going to be bad for your impulsive price action. It's going to invalidate it. You can come down and take out your lows from Wednesday. And I think that's kind of probable now to take out those lows from Wednesday. Okay, XLM, we can check XLM real quick. I haven't done analysis on XLM in a long time. Maybe there's another chart. Let's see. I mean, what I can say about XLM is this looks like a very nice 1, 2, 3, 4. I would expect another push up here. This looks like a corrective descending channel that we're in right now. And like sort of a bull flag, if you want to say that. But I would play the range. This is your range that you're going to be playing right here, the flag. Let me check another chart here. Nope. Yeah, I'm just going to get rid of. I mean, the last time we did it was back in this area. Looks like we did. Kind of reject that resistance. Dang it. Okay, so yeah, we rejected the pitchfork midline, tried to bounce from the band, got a lower high. We're losing the band now. So this, I would say, we have your descending channel. I would follow this descending channel. Looks like it could be could be a bull flag. Let's take our trend-based Fibonacci time. Yeah, it's getting a little bit long for a channel or for a bull flag because you have your pole here, and usually you want your flag to be no longer than 2 times the length of the pole. So here, but if this was the low, then it was maybe for the 2, and we want to see a breakup out of this channel soon. We're at value area low. We're on the brink of losing value area low of this upper daily range here. And the thing that is a little bit bothersome is that we're rejecting from the lower band of the pitchfork. We could move our way down to like 33 cents, 32.5 cents. Look at that weekly order, weekly fair value gap in here, like big ass fair value gap in here. So, but big ass fair value gap bouncing from the bottom there. Actually, it was all the way up here. That was the halfway mark of the fair value gap. You can see that it was from right up here to down here. Huge weekly fair value gap, and we filled half of it. We've got a weekly level of support. And a weekly level of resistance. That's also a monthly. I'm going to mark that as a monthly instead. Well, no, we can't because the month hasn't closed. And then as far as your daily levels go, I mean, there's a couple of them. I would look at this one right below us as well, that daily level right there. And then, of course, this daily's been tapped. And now, most likely, we're going to have a daily resistance. It's not closed yet today, but I'm going to put that there because I think we're going to close the candle red. So we're going to have a new daily resistance. And then we can look at our points of control within this range. That's this week, so we're pretty much at our point of control for the week. It's not confirmed yet. We bounced from last week's point of control. Let's go to our monthly points of controls. Okay. Now, the month has not closed yet, so this is not confirmed yet, but this could be a new monthly point of control at 36.2, let's say. Guys, I only have 15 minutes left until I got to take off, so we will get through as much as we can in the next 15 minutes. Okay, point of control just below us, a naked daily. And as far as your local range, I would be pulling this guy here. Just looking at this price, this upper price action. Very locally. So yeah, you have your range point of control around your naked daily point of control. We tried to break out of the local value area high. We couldn't. And so now we're falling back in. It's a very high likelihood that we at least come to 38.4, 0.384. But if we pull our Fibonacci from the lows to the highs here, yeah, that's your area of support locally. Actually, we're already hitting the golden pocket, but I would like to come a little bit lower to actually hit the naked daily as well. So like this is going to be your local support area that we are already starting to tap into, but I would like to continue a little bit lower. And then, of course, if we look at the larger profile, where's that at? Not that one. Okay. Yeah, your larger volume profile, you're underneath that value area low. That's not a good sign that you're underneath the value area low. So if we close today's candle underneath 39.2, then we probably are going to see a bigger drop down. I would say to this daily, with a small bounce, we could see a small bounce from the naked daily to backtest this area and continue down, or to backtest that daily and continue down. There's not much else in here, though. I mean, this SFP into the daily does look nice. So we have the Monday lows into your daily. That would be the next level of support that I would be looking for. Yeah, I mean, that's it. That it's tough because this internal low here into your daily, but right below it you have another SFP into the golden pocket. So that's I would personally trade that as two different levels, and I would only be looking at this part of the golden pocket. I know those are very close together though, so that's your local levels. If we break that, I do think we're going to come down to touch the bottom of the channel between 32 and 33 cents, 32 and 33. Bro, where did you pull that macro fib? Hamza Wisdom, which asset are you talking about? 333 WXYXZ is a very strong candidate for the 2026 bear market. It won't be the same as previous bear markets. We have huge corrections, in my opinion. Yeah, Bat Keto, I do think huge corrections are coming. Now, a WXYXZ is a very rare thing to happen. It's one of the rarest options. But I do think corrections are coming, and it could be. You know, we just don't know yet. We don't have enough data. So we'll just keep an eye on it as it develops. Halving is loosening its strength, and institutions coming in. Yes, institutions coming into the asset definitely changed Bitcoin forever. Rip the Band-Aid off on ETH. Yes, I want to rip to 3,500. I want to rip that Band-Aid off to 3,500, or then I can long it to 7K. 76K is the lowest we'll see on Bitcoin from now on. Well, here's the thing, but Bad Keto, if we come down to 76K, it is so close to our 74K lows that I don't know why we wouldn't just come down to the 74K lows then, you know. Down here, 74K lows, if we see that bigger flat correction in here, then coming down and taking out those lows into the value area high of this range would be super nice. Also, if you pull your fib from low to high, that golden pocket is right there. Right in that general area. So yeah, I get where you're saying 74, 76K, you know, macro golden pocket. But if you come down that close, you're probably going to wick past that golden pocket to grab that liquidity. Now, remember, in a bigger flat correction, you come up to that 382, 1.382. And if we pull that fib from, God, why can't I do this right now? High to low, you have that macro 382. 1.382, excuse me. Is where we rejected, right? And remember that 1.382 is common for a flat. So in an ABC flat or just a flat correction, it could be complex, that 1.382, and then you would come down to grab those lows. And we did reject from the 1.382. Ara, I did check AVAX already. I will show you real quick. AVAX is at our resistance level, and we are rejecting from that resistance. It's our upper band of the bearish pitchfork. It is the golden pocket. We have a naked weekly, a daily, a SFP. Now, I wanted to make it up to 36.6, just a little bit higher. That's where the top of the pitchfork band is, in confluence with that naked monthly and naked. You have a naked monthly, a naked daily, and a daily, and the SFP up there. This area here, but we are at our larger resistance area, and actually, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to take this box and we're going to move it up to there. We're at our larger resistance area on AVAX. So I expect some sort of pullback from this area. Now, if we turn off our bearish pitchfork, let me and we throw on our local pitchfork here, it's possible we can chop and bounce from this midline locally to come up there. And you can see that's the upper band of our bullish pitchfork. So if we turn on our bearish pitchfork, you can see this area right here. Bearish pitchfork top, bullish pitchfork upper band, monthly, naked monthly, daily, swing failure pattern. I think that's a possibility we could come a little bit higher, but we are at resistance. Check Solana. I'm sorry, Solana is what you want to check. Well, we did Solana as well. Solana hit into our macro resistance, 252 to 256, and we are at the top of a macro pitchfork here. So I'm watching and playing this little range here, but if we break it down, I think we are going to come to test 225 to 220. We did finish a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so because we finished that 5 wave, well, we're in a much bigger impulse. So now you want to pull, this could be your wave 3. You're going to pull, between the 382 and the 0.5, coming down to that 0.5 would be nice, around 224. And if it takes some time to get down there, we would be looking at alignment with your bottom of the pitchfork. So if we're going to do something like this, $70K confirmed. It's not confirmed yet. Samuel S., I am not even thinking about $70K until we lose our macro value area high. So going back to Bitcoin here, if we turn on our macro value volume profile, all the price action from 2025, let's turn that on. This value area high at about 110K, we're above the macro value area high. And so because we're above this macro value area high, and we already came back and back tested it, there is a potential we could push to new all-time highs right now. But I would like to see a bigger 3-wave corrective move coming down to 105, backtesting this trend, volume-weighted trend, and then get back above it, make one more all-time high. If we fall, there is a caution with that, though, because if we do lose 110, even if we come to 105 and bounce from 105, I will look for a long at 105. But the thing is, we could do this. Bounce from 105 just to come up to 110, reject 110, now finding re-acceptance back within your volume profile. And if you do that, guess what? You're probably going to come down to the POC where we do have liquidity close by into that POC. Okay, I want to check on Bitcoin real quick here. That ascending channel. Where did that sucker go? Yeah, we're bouncing from the bottom of the channel right now. This channel, now remember, guys, locally, we're looking to either bounce here, our value area low is here, our local 8-day range value area low. It's a little bit below it, but if we lose this ascending channel trend, then I do think we can come down to grab at least to 114.4 to grab these lows into your anchored VWAP from 98K that I think it was Bakito just showed me, or someone on the stream just showed me. But I would honestly say that this box down here, where your intermediate range value area low is in confluence with that anchored VWAP from the all-time highs. Because what we're trying to do is now flip what used to be the bearish trend. We're breaking it and trying to flip it to support to continue. So you want this to bounce from that area. Yeah, I think one more all-time high too. But I get it. But how did you get that golden pocket from which pivots? Are you talking about the 118K golden pocket that we just rejected from? Because if this golden pocket right here was just pulled, let me show you. Let me turn off some of this stuff. If you look at the golden pocket, you're going to pull it from the highs to the lows. And you're just turning on your golden pocket, and that's right there. Golden pocket, and that's where we were rejected from. Boom, hit right into the 618. Rejection, drop. Render. I know I have. That's not a good chart. Yeah, I would say on render. Gosh, this is really old. What is this? That's not even a weekly level. Why am I doing that? You have a small bottoming range in here on render. So I'd be looking at this range. You could even pull it here. So pretty much the same thing. But yeah, I wouldn't say we've broken out quite yet. And I would be looking at this descending channel. You want to break this guy here. This descending channel. If you break it, you could see a push up to grab these highs. So you have your range highs here. And yeah, actually, you know what I would do? I would pull the descending channel from these highs to these lows to this low. That's your descending channel you're kind of following. And then more locally, even more locally, I would be looking at this small range in here. You're at the value area high of that small range. You're rejecting from value area high, so you could come down to value area low. Let's pull our fib. And let's look at that 786. 786 is near that weekly and the value area low. So that would be a local support level for me on render. And then, of course, your golden pocket as well. Actually, let's just leave that. SFP into golden pocket. I guess it's kind of a long SFP. So, yeah. Definitely the weekly level is a strong support because right on your weekly, you also have that naked weekly POC. So that 342 is such a good level there. 342. And I guess that's this week's Naked Weekly POC, so it's not confirmed yet. But I'm throwing it down there because I think it's going to be confirmed. I don't think we're going to drop down there before Sunday closes. Oh, that's a Naked Monthly too, but the month hasn't closed yet. So it's not confirmed. And below us from yesterday, you have your Naked Daily POC at the point of control of the range. You also have a Naked Daily POC where that golden pocket is. So now that golden pocket actually means something. So let's turn this off now. Let's mark out that golden pocket again. From low to high. Golden pocket, Naked Daily. But I like this weekly better. Even though this is a support level, you could bounce from here, reject that POC, come down here, bounce from here, reject, and then see a bigger. Okay, guys, I have to get going. Thank you all for joining. I really appreciate y'all. Please hit the like button on your way out if you got anything out of this stream. Watch for Bitcoin. I do think that it is going to be a rangy weekend. We could just continue ranging within this 8-day upper local range, but we're at the bottom of the ascending channel right now. And if we break that ascending channel, I do think we're going to come at least to 114.4 to grab the range lows. But really, I think we're going to come to the value area low of our bigger range around 113.5 to 113.3. So ascending channel is being touched right now. It is also your POC of the range. Value area low is just a bit lower. Be aware that if we start to break this ascending trend down, we can see a quick flush down. Thank you all so much. Sudeep, thank you for modding. Have a good weekend, everyone. Trade safe. And I will see you Monday.